Hey guys, it's your boy Aijalonwallace. Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be talking about how to apply for a student visa in Brazil. I know that a lot of people come to Brazil and sadly they're like, man, I do not want to go back home. This is, it happens the most. And I'm back with Walt again. You know, guys, Walt has been living in Brazil for quite some time now. He actually applied for the student visa. So I want to talk about, you know, the student visa a little bit more, interview Walt, man, today. And we got a couple more videos on our YouTube channel talking about the digital nomad visa, talking about how to get your visa extended for 90 days. So make sure you check out those videos as well. If you guys don't know who I am as well, I'm a nomad recruiter. So I teach people how to start their own recruitment and staffing company. So if you're looking to work online remotely, feel free to reach out to me. Also, feel free to reach out to Walt for consulting advice as well, you know? So going into the student visa, man, I remember when I first came here, I actually reached out to you. That's how I met you. And I was just like, you know, man, I want to get a student visa. Should I do it now in America or should I wait till I get to Brazil? And it was a lot of work if you wait till you get to Brazil.
A lot of work,
versus America. But what is your thoughts on it, man?
Yeah, so what I would tell, again, this is for, speaking to the people who are American citizens and you're in America right now and you're thinking about getting a student visa, please do it in America. Because trust me, whenever I started the student visa process, I was already here in Brazil, but I was going back to the States, got to do some stuff for work. And even the people here in Brazil say, look, since you're going back to the States, it would be much easier if you just did everything in the States, because they require, like, I think here in Brazil, there's about, let's call it like 15 requirements. In the States, there's like 4 or 5 and you just get it done. So again, I would highly recommend, if you can, to get it done while you're in the States, because it'll just make your life that much easier, honestly.
Right. And it's, I mean, whatever country you're from, to be honest, I think it's going to be the same at the end of the day. If you're from the UK, Canada, anywhere in Europe, it's best to probably just do the information or the stuff you're going to need in your hometown, because I guess the number one thing that's, I guess, the most challenging thing about the student visa is the apostille stamp that everyone, you know, I remember when I saw, first and foremost, when I saw apostille stamp, I didn't even know what apostille stamp apostille was. And I was like, what the hell is this? And I'm searching all over the internet. But I guess, you know, that's the most challenging thing, because you talk about, you know, how do you even go about getting that?
So an apostille is pretty much just getting a document notarized, but whenever people use the phrase or the term apostille, that just means getting it notarized for international use. So that's whether that's scholarships or moving abroad and different things of that nature. Again, that's just getting it. Apostille just means notarized, but for international use for various causes. And again, the reason why it can be challenging, because it can be quite expensive. Like, so whenever I got my birth certificate apostilled, and I got my background check apostilled, it was $175 a piece.
Wow.
Right. So then other places you can maybe get 100, 125, but it can be very, very expensive. That's why if you do the documents, if you do the process in the States, you won't have to go through getting things apostilled, X, Y, and Z. So again, it can save you a lot of money too.
Right. I 100% agree. And also the apostille stamp you can only get an apostille stamp notarized from your Secretary of State. It has to be from a government official. So if anyone tells you that they can do it and it's not, and they're not at the Secretary of State office or in a government office, and it probably is not legit. There's a lot of people that take advantage of people.
Exactly, because again, not that many people are too familiar with the process, so you got to be very, very careful. What I recommend is before you go and get some apostille, I can connect you with an apostille in the States. Go to bbb.com, Better Business Bureau, and look up that apostille. Look up that person's business. Make sure they're verified. Make sure they have good reviews, X, Y, and Z before you go to that person. Because there's a lot of people who can maybe do like through backdoor routes, X, Y, Z, but they could be a little sketch. And then again, you're putting your documents, your precious documents in their hands. So again, if you're going to get an apostille, go to, again, betterbusinessbureau.com, and then make sure they have a legitimate business.
Right. Now, if you remember briefly, if someone was to apply for a student visa while they're in Brazil, what are the things that they're going to need? It's a list of things, but I know a lot of them as well. But
so unfortunately, right. So let's say you're in Brazil, you're like, you know what, I want to stay, I want to do the student visa. you have to pay for all your classes. Like, so for me, I paid for about 320 hours worth of classes, and you have to pay, like, you can't like make payments. You have to pay for everything up front because the visa is dependent on how long you'll be studying, because then the school has to write up, this person will be studying 10 hours per week for 6 months or a year. So everything has to be paid for, because then you get official documents in Portuguese. Okay. Then they want your birth certificate and background check. But here's the tricky thing. If you haven't gotten your documents apostilled, you probably have to send them all the way back to the States, get them apostilled, then mailed back, because they have to get apostilled in your home country. All right, now that you got your documents apostilled, now you have to get them translated to Portuguese. So that's your birth certificate and the background check. Again, that's more dinero, right? Yeah. Now that we did that, now you have to do a background check in Brazil. There's like a federal police background check, which is, I think, roughly about, $80 to $100. So now you have to get all that done. And then, so again, it's a process if you were to begin that process here in Brazil. So
right, it's a lot of work. And going back to what Walt was saying, so in order to apply for the student visa, you have to get a acceptance letter from a school in Brazil, an English school. Now, I guess some creative ways for you to find, I'm sorry, not English, but Portuguese school, a school that teach Portuguese, so a Brazilian school that teach Portuguese to foreigners. So listen, I guess my biggest advice is that, if you apply to the federal universities, it is free, but it is a process and it's not easy. They don't just accept anyone. So sometimes it's best to try to find a school in the city that you're living in, but shop around for prices as well. Yeah. There are some schools that try to take advantage of people and they charge some ridiculous prices. So you want to shop around. Ways you can shop around is joining some of the Facebook groups in Rio or in Sao Paulo, or whichever city you're in. There's usually like a lot of expats in Rio, expats in Sao Paulo, digital nomads in Rio, digital nomads in Sao Paulo, foreigners in Rio, foreigners in Sao Paulo, and just look up, other cities like Salvador, whatever city you're in. And usually what you can do is go to the search bar and you can type in, hey guys, I'm looking for a school that, will sponsor, or a school that can help me with the student visa process. What schools do you recommend that are affordable? So just shop around. Also, this is Brazil. You can always negotiate as well at the end of the day, but shop around. I'm seeing prices range between, on average, anywhere from for 6 months, so you can get a 6 month and you can get a 1 year visa. And I'm usually seeing price.
So what that is, not to cut you off. Yeah. So what you'll do is you'll study for it's not necessarily a 6 month visa. Like sometimes a lot of the study programs are 6 months, but the visa will still give you a year. Or if you do the year, they give you like 2 years to complete it, right? So that's kind of how it works. Like I don't think that they'll ever do it for 6 months. It's like you're gonna study for 6 months, and then they'll give you a year. Okay. But if you pay for a year program, sometimes, because they know, especially for like language schools, they know that you may take some breaks and stuff like that, so they give you like 2 years or so. Okay. Yeah, so that way you don't have to do the whole process again and extend.
Right. Yeah. And the beautiful thing about the schools is that you can take online classes now because of COVID has made it easier. It used to be a requirement for you to actually have to go and take classes, I think 4 or 5 hours a day.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. I was going in person, But you have schools that are a little bit more flexible. And they'll work with you. Yeah,
especially knowing that you're still working remotely at the end of the day. So there are a lot of ways around it. And I guess so if people were like, well, let's just say like my situation, I had 2 weeks left before I came to Brazil. If a person has 2-4 weeks left and they're like, man, I'm just gonna have to apply for it when I get to Brazil, what is the one thing you would recommend them to do or to get before coming to Brazil?
Do your FBI background check, and then again, feel free to reach out to me. I can provide you with a link on where to go. The place I paid for was about $50, and I got it back the same day. You do your fingerprint and all that. So do your FBI background check. Have your birth certificate. I know a lot of people don't like to travel with that, but that's what you're going to have to do. Have your documents apostilled. I would make sure you have copies of that just for safety issues. And yeah, those are the two things: birth certificate apostilled, FBI background check apostilled, and just have that PDF version too, just in case of anything. So
right.
Those are the biggest things I would recommend.
Right. Now there was a rule where your FBI background check was only valid I read it somewhere, it was only valid for 90 days, but since COVID has happened, as long as you haven't left the country in Brazil, an immigration person told me, as long as you haven't left Brazil once you come over, you should be able to still use those FBI background records as well. So, that's something to know. I do want to say as well, I guess people watching this video, if you are American, British, you are from Canada, or what, I would just do your research, but you can come to Brazil for 6 months just off of your country's passport, So I came as an American, I was able to stay in Brazil for up to 6 months. And then if I decided that I wanted to stay longer, I can apply for a student visa. I guess, when would you suggest people to apply for a student visa if they do a 90-day and a 90-day extension? When should they get started on the process?
I would try to get started, kind of just get started as soon as possible, at least, because they can just be very bureaucratic about, you need this paper, it's gonna take us this long to process it. Like, things are very, very bureaucratic, and things don't always move that fast here, as you'll start to notice. So if you think the student visa is the route you wanna go, I would try to start that, just try to get things moving as soon as possible. So that way, you get it, and then you can kind of live, live a little bit more freely.
Right. And what would you say are some of the pros and cons of having a student visa in Brazil?
Well, now with the digital nomad visa, I wouldn't really say the student visa has any pros. Maybe, because the digital nomad visa seems to be a lot easier to obtain. So, before though, prior to the digital nomad visa, I would just say the time. Most people just do it just for more time.
Okay.
Yeah, unless, they can get sponsored by work or some other reasons, people were just doing it just to have more time here. Okay. And then, people want to learn Portuguese.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about digital nomad visa on another YouTube video because there's so much information to talk about. But he has mentioned that there is another newer visa out there. But I still think, I guess what I was trying to get you to talk about was, I guess, the advantages of learning Portuguese faster. Because I think a lot of people, Portuguese is a hard language. And, if you're not practicing or learning, you're going to, some Brazilians speak Spanish, but it's going to be a challenge. Very few. It's going to be a challenge. So I guess, what are your thoughts, about picking the right school, and how did it help you become more efficient? Or
I completed C-level Portuguese. I went to school for 4 hours a day, 20 hours a week. I've done interviews in Portuguese and different things like that. So you guys can probably find other videos I did in actual Portuguese. So I think the benefit to learning Portuguese, especially if you're going to be here for some time, is that it makes things a little bit easier, whether you're dating or just trying to go to a restaurant, or if you're traveling to more remote places. Like, there's a lot of cool towns and beach towns and different cool little cities to see. But as you leave places like Rio and Sao Paulo, start to visit these other places, not a lot of people speak English, let alone Spanish. You'll find more English speakers than you will find Spanish speakers. So you want to be able to communicate. You want to be able to ask directions. You want to be able to explain the situation just in case things go wrong. Again, for those who will be dating, if you go on a date and the person doesn't speak English, you don't. Some people do, but you maybe don't want to have your phone out for 3-4 hours just trying to communicate, right? So again, it just makes things a lot, you can trust me, it just makes things a lot easier if you at least have some of the basics down and whatnot. So those are some of the benefits. That's
interesting. That's a good topic for us to talk about. But he's 100% right. Great, Walt speaks Spanish, Portuguese, and English, of course. So but you want to at least have the basics down packed at the end of the day, because it's going to be a challenge, especially just going to a coffee shop or going shopping. It can be a headache. Trust me, I'm telling you, it can be a headache because it's just different. Things are very different here. But, once again, if you are looking at applying for the student visa, take action early. I did not see that many videos like this on YouTube, so I didn't really have advice or strategies. But I guess for me, it was when I did start the student visa process, but I decided to keep moving around. So I made, you know, and then the digital nomad visa is out now. But when I first started the process, it was hell because I had to send my grandmother to the Secretary of State, and then I found out it was only one office that you could get your apostille stamp in, depending on your city. It was a lot of work. So prepare and plan for it now. One thing I will say, that on average, and me and Walt probably can agree on this, most people we have met always extend their visa or end up applying for a student visa to stay here longer. That's, you know, I'm not trying to oversell Brazil, or I'm not here to sell it. I'm not getting paid or anything, but every time we meet someone, they usually extend their visa and they're usually applying for a student visa because of life. It's just pretty, it's pretty amazing here.
No, it's amazing. Yeah, I'll be honest. Like when I came here in April, I was supposed to leave like May 21st or something like that. And of course, other things happened due to COVID, but I ended up staying till August, right? And so trust me, like, and then, you know, I've met plenty of people saying, oh, so when are you leaving? I'm supposed to leave tomorrow, but I may extend. I actually had a friend who was here in January. He extended his, extended his trip like 3 different times. So the first guy I met did that. So a lot of people end up extending just because, again, life is, you know, pretty cool here. There's a lot of things to do. There's so many places to see. The country is humongous. Like you don't realize how much there is to do until you get here. So yeah, a lot of people do end up extending and just falling in love with the place.
Yeah, it is. So look, I think for the most part, that is what we're gonna wrap up the video for the student visa. I think we gave you most details and the most important things that we feel that you're going to need. Most importantly, there are a lot of Facebook groups that you can join, but feel free to comment below and ask any questions. I'm going to put Walt's information for you to reach out to him as well. He can assist you with the 90-day visa.
Every step. Yeah, I'll show you my apostille, connect you with whoever you need. And so we're here to help.
Yeah, we're here to help, guys. So listen, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this. And most importantly, check out some more of our videos. We'll go from there. All right, guys. See you later.